So this is officially like you're promoting Sun Don't Shine. I saw it like a year ago.
Know. It's South by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it gain a new level of excitement or momentum? You probably made it like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And then you start the festivals, and then even that kind of probably stopped at least a half a year ago, I'm going to guess.
Yeah,
right?
about
and then
half
it's
a
back.
year ago.
Yeah.
And then, it's exciting. I think it's exciting for us because I think all of us feel like it's not just a festival movie, that it's a movie that it's pretty accessible, in my opinion. It's like playing with the genre.
Noir.
Yeah, noir and sort of this like thriller
Buddy movie.
and road movie. Yeah, buddy cop. But no, I mean, I think all of us were like really waiting for it to sort of, for it to be accessible for everyone, and that's what you kind of want, because it's fun to go to festivals, but you're speaking to a bunch of people that have the same film knowledge, and they're watching it in a referential way, and I think I'm just excited to have people that like have no reference point. That like are just experiencing the movie.
So you mean like as opposed to the usual suspects who you see over and over at the festivals, or like the festival
or like
culture?
Just the festival culture, like that like the audience members that go to film festivals are either cinephiles, or they're familiar with. They have reference points for even work that all of us have done, and somehow that shapes their viewing experience. I think we're all excited for it to be autonomous.
Sure. Yeah, now I see what you mean, right. So they're either sympathetic or they already hate it.
Yeah.
No, they don't do that. It's just people who have no preconceived notion walking into the film.
Right.
And not your parents either, right?
Not my mom and dad.
Yeah. Are your folks together? And are they, you grew up in Florida, though?
Yeah. My dad is no longer with us, but they both. I was raised in Florida. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What does your mom think of your movie career?
She still thinks that I have time to go back to medical school.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You're very young.
That's what she says.
But
I mean, even like
Uncle Jerry's friend Morty, he went back when he was 30 years old.
Yeah, that's what she keeps pushing on me, and I'm like, well, I just got on this television show. I might want to see how that shakes down. And she's like, right, but if it doesn't work out.
Yeah. What is the television show?
I'm on on The Killing.
The Killing. Okay. What's that on?
AMC.
What AMC. Oh, that's a good one these days, isn't it?
It's awesome.
Being on AMC is like is hot.
Yeah.
Because Breaking Bad, I think, and Mad Men, right?
Mad Men.
Congratulations.
Walking Dead. And
yeah. Oh, right. Walking Dead.
There's a bunch of really awesome shows in there, and The Killing.
And what's your role in?
I am a sort of a mother that is. I'm a mom that's financially strapped, and I have my daughter goes missing.
Oh, yes. That's the premise, and so the show is about your. It's
not. I mean, they've had 2 seasons already, so the 2 main characters.
I'm not behind
That's
the ball.
okay.
Yeah.
It was a Danish show first, and it is really good.
So you had to learn Danish?
I learned,
yeah.
But so they've been on for 2 seasons. So it's Mireille Enos and Joel Kinnaman, who are very awesome actors. They played the detectives in the show, and they had one crime that they were investigating, and then this is a whole new case.
I see. So it's so you're in the current plot.
Yeah.
The current. And so that's great. So is this your first real television experience or
Well, I did Christopher Guest earlier this year for HBO. And that was.
Oh my God!
I want to say that was a real television experience, but it was Christopher Guest, and it was improvised. So. But
how was that?
Really improvising. It was intimidating.
But you're not just improvising with like some sort of troupe. I'm sorry, but you're improvising with like the
with like
sort of
Balaban.
His royalty, right? I mean, literally, I think he's royalty, right?
He is royalty.
Yeah, but he's also like the royal prince of improvisation.
Yes, and he also is that too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I had no idea. So how did you get that gig?
I don't know.
You have like somebody who?
No,
like,
I have the.
You don't know. That's cute.
No, I have agents. They do.
Right.
They do a lot like stuff. And they're very good. And they made the casting director and Christopher Guest aware of me as a performer. So he watched a bunch of stuff, comedy stuff, some scenes from Gabby in the Roof in July.
Yeah.
And some scenes from Tiny Furniture, and some scenes from even the dramatic stuff that I had done. And brought me in to just talk.
That's really exciting stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
But it's got to be a bit overwhelming too, because you're getting all these quality things going between the films, and Upstream Color, of course. I know there's at least one or two other films that are coming.
Pit Stop? Was that Sunday?
You were in Pit Stop, Yen Tan's film.
Mm-hmm.
Can you? He's coming. He's coming on. I just have to get him to New York. We have to. That has to be at Cinema Fest, right? It's perfect.
I love it. Did you?
I saw it.
I think it's so
saw it.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I almost. That's right. You are the right.
Mm-hmm.
Who's still in love with her gay husband? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good, really different role for you, though.
Yeah.
And now the mom role also in the series.
Mm-hmm.
That must be fun, right?
It is fun.
Really, because you were for a while the indie girl on the cusp of adulthood, not
Is that how it was? I don't know.
It's that whole generation of kind of like figuring things out. And
that world of stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's strange. Like, I guess I had a strange couple of years where life took over, and I was just more focused on dealing with life and also continuing to do independent film. So I've really only recently had the opportunity to sort of jump back in and focus on all that stuff. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Getting back to the original sort of, I guess, subject of Sun Don't Shine, I guess the question would be: it's a kind of a noir, a couple on the sort of on the run in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
From a, can we say?
Yeah.
Is it right? Because it's from the beginning that there's been some sort of violent crime they've been involved with, right? Mm-hmm. So where did the inspiration for that come? Did you grow up watching movies, old movies? Is that something that's...
Yeah, I mean, I watched any kind of movie. A mix of,
really?
Like, my grandma loves, like most grandmothers do, old movies, because those are not old movies then.
Yeah, right.
And like classics. And so I have, like, my taste spans from like Frank Capra to Tobe Hooper. So like and I watched a lot of horror movies, and I watched a lot of
mall, kind of going to the mall type of years. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, was it the horror movies back then?
My parents were divorced, and when I would go to Dad's house for the weekend, Dad let us eat Cheese Whiz and Triscuits all weekend long, and we could rent whatever the hell we wanted. And so when we would go home, we would be full of Coca-Cola and Cheese Whiz
and Nightmares
and Freddy,
right,
and Nightmare on Elm Street. And my mom would just be like, oh, jeez. Like, so there was no controlling that. And then I also grew up in, my teenager, me becoming a teenager, and sort of going through preteen years was in the 90s, when those, the sort of psychosexual thrillers were happening, like one.
Brian De Palma comes to mind, but that's not, maybe, I don't know if that's who you
But yeah, or like another one that Kate and I talked about before is oh crap, this is so bad. Right now I'm not, Glenn Close, Michael Douglas.
Oh yeah, A Fatal Attraction. Yeah, right, yeah, I see definitely the through line there.
Yeah, I watched that movie and I'm like, fucking good for her. Like he's an asshole.
He is an asshole, right?
Yeah. Like, I don't watch that movie and go, what a psycho. I think, like, I mean, she's imbalanced, but, like, he should have known that when he got involved with her. That, like,
right. Yeah. He wasn't thinking about that in the elevator ride. But also, I could, those films, I'm going to forget the filmmaker now, but they were sort of straight to video in the, like, late 80s, or into the 90s. And Nicolas Cage was in them, Red Rock West.
Okay, I know you.
Do you know those movies?
My dad really likes
and
those
early
movies.
Coen Brothers.
Or like yes. Blood Simple was another
Blood Simple,
one.
right?
I mean, but also growing up in Florida, like you can't deny the crime, the strange crime stories.
Yeah, right. They're always out of Florida.
Always out of Florida.
It's a weird place, right? Well, that's a whole other conversation.
It's kind of the. I mean,
it is.
It's like I think the heat makes you insane.
Yeah.
And if you've ever spent a summer there, it does. Like you have weird thoughts in heat, you know, not in like. You have weird
in
thoughts
heat.
in heat.
I see.
Yeah.
That's good.
Not like a moaning cat, but like a.
Well,
but
sort of.
Well, sort of. Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. So it's an agitated state that like. You're like, I want a popsicle. No, I just want to lay on the concrete. I don't know. Just like make it end. Like it's just like your brain can't. It doesn't function right because it's just so uncomfortable.
Right.
You know, it's just this really agitated state. And so when these crime stories come out, and people are like, "Who the hell would do that?" I'm like, just come for one summer to Florida, like not on a vacation spot. Just come. Oh yeah, just come to like. To some random remote place in Florida, and then you'll understand why. Yeah. Like why people are making sort of strange decisions.
Desperate acts.
Desperate,
of passion
in heat.
Or otherwise. Yeah, right, in heat. No, my grandparents, of course, retired there.
Yeah.
But I grew up going there, but like, the retirement communities parts of South Florida, not... the real Florida, although I guess that's part of the real Florida now, in the West Palm Beach.
Yeah.
Century Village.
Yeah.
But I grew up because my granddad went down there when he was just out of middle age because of heart reasons, and they lived down there for 30 years or so.
Yeah.
But I remember the heat anyway.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. I mean, it's great when you can go in the water.
Right.
Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah. Did you grow up near the water?
I did. I grew up in St. Petersburg.
Okay.
I mean, you can tell, like the water in my movie is like a place of like salvation and like sort of like where they find like it's like where you want to go. It's like really frustrating that they can't just get in there. So when she gets in that swimming pool at the end, like it just feels so nice because you just been watching her like sweat and like roll in mud.
Yeah, well, and the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah,
literally.
And so they're just... My sister said that. She was like, oh, it felt so good to watch her get in that pool. And I was like, that said like a true Florida girl. Like, because... Right. And not only that, but I realized that I desperately wanted a swimming pool when I was a kid, but we never had one. So the idea of, at the end of this horrible journey about jumping into a swimming pool, there's also like a childhood dream about that. Yeah. When you were conceiving of it and writing it, do you think about like the things on a metaphorical level and symbolically now? I mean... do you write that way, or are you much more of a literal writer, and then some of these ideas come after the fact, maybe? How much of it is in the direction of the film? More of it is the tones that I want to hit in tenors and emotional resonance more than it is plot. And that's more interesting to me than plot. Got good actors for that. Yeah, and people that understand that. You have to find the people that get that. Yeah, and so that's more interesting to me. And so there was for the film, the first idea that I had was this idea of suffocation, of like asphyxiation. I know that not in a sexual way, like in a just like this. Like not being able to breathe. Get your full breath. Yeah, and I think that's very indicative of her character because of the mermaid metaphor and sort of this birthing idea of like taking the first breath of like transformation from a mermaid into a woman is like the first thing you need to do is take a breath, and also what Crystal's going through or has gone through or where we join her in the movie is I think that her life she's just been like compounded and compounded and compounded and compounded all these like sort of experiences that have just sort of pushed all her emotions down and down and down and down and suddenly we're just watching her like a snap. Like we're not watching her where she's able to function. We're watching her from the moment where she's actually like gasping for air and like flailing around. Right. Well, that's when we get the or Caitlin Scheel and Tucker Audley are the two actors. Are they both seem to me on the I know
Caitlin a little bit, but I mean, as me, as an audience person watching their performances, I would think of them as both very internalized actors. And so I'm wondering, as their director, did you kind of rehearse things or discuss it through, or workshop, and such? And also, I have I guess the second part is, did you write this for them, or did you just write it before conceiving who would play the parts?
I wrote it for them specifically, and I wrote it in pieces over a period of a couple months, where I would send them a scene, and so they didn't, as the story developed, they got to know how their characters were going to be. So it wasn't like I handed them a script and I'm like, fill in the gaps. Or there was a discussion happening and I would tell them these ideas of maybe this, and this. And I could see if they responded to it, because there were some ideas that they maybe didn't respond to, and not that they would say that sucks. They would just say, yeah, okay. But sometimes you could tell if they were really responding to it. And so I wanted them to feel close to it. And so I would put all the ideas that I felt like they felt close to, and they were discussions about ideas. And so so the script, every time I had an idea, I would write it out in prose and then send it to them. And so and there, I mean, I've worked with them before, so she's like quite the wallflower when she wants to be, but she is, you can tell her to,
she'll go for it, right? Yeah. She can, yeah. It's frightening when she does,
right?
I'll tell you,
it is.
I saw her like in 5 or 6 movies where she's snarky and then a little bit, kind of playing it up a little. But this was one of the first times I'd seen her like
explode,
really go for it.
Yeah, and
scary.
that's like the really interesting thing that she and I wanted to play with, which is there's nothing scarier than watching somebody that's highly unpredictable. And because you don't know what rules they're playing by, and you don't know what game they're playing, but you can see that they are coming up with some sort of that there's something that you don't know what's gonna, like what the time bomb is. Like you're just waiting for them to explode again, and something is, but you don't know what it is, and it's like that's just completely terrifying and alluring to watch. But also, I feel very she's like a very sensitive character, and that's why she's sort of all over the place.
Right, and maybe going a little nuts.
Oh yeah, she killed somebody. Right.
I guess that. So and then and also like working with Shane Caruth, and what is he also? One would think that it was all very planned maybe there was less room for improvisation. Again, superficial, just sort of assumption on my behalf. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Or is he one of these people? He got it like, all up here beforehand and you're executing away? And
he does. I think this one was a lot different than Primer was, from my understanding. I never felt like I was a puppet, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
I hope I wasn't implying that.
No. But I mean, in a sense that he brought me on because he'd seen Sun Don't Shine. He had never seen me act before, which I think is a bold choice. Yeah.
But he saw that. Did he see that in Austin last year too?
No,
is that his first? No, he saw it before that, right?
I somebody recommended me.
Okay.
And then I told him I was editing a movie, and I wasn't sure if I could do Upstream Color, and so then I asked him if he wanted to see a cut, and he said sure, because we were getting along really well, and then and he watched a cut of it, and so he was like, yeah, it would be in my movie. After he watched the cut and I was like, do you want to see a movie that I was in? And he said, no, that's enough. And so, so I felt like it was really collaborative. There was the beginning 30 minutes is a completely different movie. That is so to the T, exactly what he had mapped out. And then there were
the sequences. You mean the whole opening sequence with the guy who basically kidnaps
everything. You? All of that first 30 minutes, which is very, very, very formal, and is exactly, there was precise. He was very on me about doing things very specifically. And then as it becomes this where Shane and I, Jeff and Chris, are having shared memories and sort of falling in love and creating this weird world, we played around a lot. But it doesn't, the ideas were on the page. It was more,
gotcha.
Let's find the heart of it. And that's what we did. Yeah.
Right. And that makes sense for that film because the first part of the film was set up, I suppose, to put it very, very broadly. But then the second was about, more of the emotional story and relationship centered. So it makes sense that you could then, you'd be kind of working together on that.
Right. Yeah.
What do you make of all the press of the, he's like got this, the whole mystique and the whole, and then everybody's looking at and trying to be the one that says the exact right thing about his filmmaking.
I think it's
Do you know what I'm saying? What do you make of that? You think it's funny?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's funny, but I also think it's magnificent. No, just knowing him, it's like, he knew how to set up a movie to make people have the conversations that he wanted them to have. Like,
but he is the puppeteer.
He is the puppeteer.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
I believe you.
And I'm not saying that to the discredit of the film. I think the film is phenomenal. I think what he did with it is amazing. But I think it's really fascinating, sort of when you're able to frame your movie in a way to set up a conversation, which I think is one of the most brilliant aspects of what he's done with both Primer and with Upstream Color, is to bring them to audiences and present them. And this is part of the filmmaking of the movie, is present them in this very confident way, and sort of force people into a conversation, and then also in the presentation of it and the way that he's framing it is to be like, you can hate this movie, but you can't deny it, and it's kind of a brilliant way to sort of approach it.
Yeah, a lot of people just assume, I don't know, they don't know. I guess he was struggling to make a film in between, right? Wasn't that the whole thing?
I think so. Yeah.
It's
9 years goes really fast.
I bet.
When
you got almost
so
a third
hard.
of that just with your new film. Sun Don't Shine, rather.
Exactly. I mean, people don't realize how heartbreaking and exhilarating and infuriating and then uplifting like making a movie is, and that's like quite a roller coaster to go on.
So you're saying that you found it more amusing, I think, or as smart and just
Oh yeah, I find it amusing because you find these things even with yourself, because like the thing that's really funny for me is whenever if I do an interview and they paint me as this like wide-eyed ingenue, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like that's so not me. Was it just because I'm sweet and I smile? Like, I guess I have to be more serious about shit, and bitchy in order to be taken. And a
couple of more any tattoos would help, and piercings
some tattoos
and things like that.
And
so you're
be drier or whatever. But or the other one that they did one recently, and they're like, oh, I just was expecting her to be so serious after watching Upstream Color, and I was like, well, I'm an actor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I gotta have joy.
Yeah.
I gotta have joy somewhere.
Right.
I mean, and anyhow, but
well, with Christopher Guest, I'm kind of curious to see that, because even though you were playing it straight, I'm certain, because that's, it's all...
Oh, all of the stuff is
it's all satire. Yeah. But I was just kind of curious to see you do a little bit broader comedy, see how... That's hard, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still straight man, but...
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of my sense of humor anyways, whenever I'm doing even the comedies that I have done. It's like, it's much more interesting to play for reality or straight, to me personally, than it is to get real broad. And I like supporting the broader performances, because they need in order for them to be really funny, or to be able to go places that they want to go, you have to have some sort of grounding element to it. So that's it's kind of hard to. Just patting myself on the back. It's pretty hard to do.
Yeah, don't get involved in this, okay? You'll be way in over your head, Joe Citizen Johnson, whatever, out there. So Sun Don't Shine is premiering April 26th, right?
Yeah.
my mom's birthday.
Is it?
I have to remember to bring her something.
Bring her to Sun Don't Shine.
Bring her to Sun Don't Shine. It's because I love you.
It's a family movie.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
In Florida, maybe it is a family movie. I don't know. It's like, that should be interesting, the screenings down there, right? Did you play this at a Florida festival?
I did in Sarasota.
Sarasota, yeah. How'd that go? Did you like it down there? But that's, again, it's a bubble, right? It's kind of...
It went great. It was really interesting, you know. What I love is because at that festival you get a lot of elderly.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah,
audience members.
Because you have screenings like at 8 a.m, right after the early bird special, and they get the discounted breakfast, and then they go to seats.
I grew up with elderly. I grew up with and I actually, when I'm in Los Angeles, I miss old people. I miss the sight of old people. Like,
can you tell the old people from young people in LA? Maybe, right. At least from a distance.
Well, no, I guess like if you get anything done to your face, you just enter the no age zone.
Right,
like whether you're 20 or like 85, they just get the same face.
I'm thinking about it.
Ugh. No, thank you. No. So you get like at Sarasota, I had an elderly crowd, but they really enjoyed the movie, but they were really aggravated by it, which was really funny because you're there and you're younger than them, so they feel like they can talk to you a certain way, and so they would just get really angry and just be like, is there a reason why it feels like your movie's stuck in first gear and suddenly it's in fourth gear? And I was like, that is a great description, thank you for, I'm going to use that. Don't
and how dare you don't try to get on my good side. I'm grumpy, I'm 80.
No.
Don't. Yeah, and also they all sleep during films. You notice that? It's just a phenomenon. Yeah. They sleep through movies.
I'm sure that was there's a little bit of that happening too. But I like that they were engaged enough to be angry or agitated.
Absolutely.
That's kind of what I would rather that than like that was
what
really
was your
nice.
Budget?
Yeah. No,
don't you
really
hate that?
Nice.
What do you think of the budget question? Because
I just, why
are you asking me that question?
Yeah,
we're not in a marketing meeting.
Why? Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting to industry people, or people that want to keep you in that little micro space,
right?
Because it means something to them.
Mm-hmm.
But really, it just doesn't make it. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You made a good movie or don't make a good movie.
Yeah.
And you can tell if it's a studio movie or not a studio movie when you watch it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like,
great, but yeah. And who's in it and all. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you.
Of course.
Amy Seimetz, filmmaker, actor. And did we ask everything we wanted to ask? Did you? Betty's a big fan. Yeah, really nice to chat with you. I maybe get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah, we've chatted online. Have we not?
I think early on I was hoping to. I think I did shoot you a note saying, this is really early on with Sun Don't Shine, saying, I'm dying. I would love to have you and Kate. My original, concept was you and Caitlin, and then it would be great. But I'm thrilled.
Yeah,
this turned out exactly the way it did, and it was I wasn't sure what was happening, and I just said, let's do this because I think. You're doing great work, and
thank you.
I'm really glad we did it.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah.
All right.